having a mob break into the Capitol is a terrible thing. And, I just don't understand it, exactly what's going on. But with the question at hand, conservatives should know that the Electoral College is something we support because it supports states' rights to run the elections. And when there's a problem, it's going to have to be fixed at the states. The fix isn't up here. For people to be led to believe that the Electoral College can be changed after the vote and that people can come in Washington and have Congress overturn the election is an absurdity. It's really a mistake for people to believe that. It's never happened before. It was never intended to happen. And if it did, it would be overturning everything that we cherish about states' rights, that these powers are something that are left to the states and the people, and they don't belong to the federal government. But can you imagine what would happen to this country if every 4 years we have Congress overturning an election? It would be chaos. And that's what you saw today, chaos and anarchy, and we have to stop it. People need to know this is not the way you try to preserve your country or make your country better. I have a lot of the same complaints. I want the elections to be better, but I'll spend the next 2 years lobbying state legislatures to try to fix the election law so this doesn't happen again. But this isn't constructive, and it started out with a bad premise and by some people who I think are confused in the Senate and the House who think, oh, Congress is allowed to overturn elections. That was never appropriate. It's not a conservative tradition, and it was a big mistake to do this.
I think there's two elements to what you're talking about. And, when you do look at the constitutional issues that arose in places like Pennsylvania, where you have a legislature that was overruled by the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, that is a real constitutional issue. I don't understand why the Supreme Court didn't take that up. It is a clear question about how the Constitution should dominate in that issue. So there are real issues that people have been fired up about, and I think rightfully so. On the other hand, you're also saying that people should never have thought that this could be overturned once each state, because the states have the power to certify their own electoral college, but they were told that by President Trump, and they were told that Vice President Pence was going to defend him in that and do something different than what he ended up saying he was going to do, which was to allow these states to have their peace. What do you say to the president about all of that transpiring before this happened?
The message I have really is for everyone. The Electoral College is the friend of those who believe in states' rights, and it destroys the Electoral College to think that Congress would overturn them. The states certified the elections. Not one state sent other electors. Not one state disputed the election. Now, you're right. I disagree with changing the electoral laws, having Secretary of States in Pennsylvania change the laws. But what happened is in there and also in Michigan is the law was actually silent on whether or not you could solicit votes, whether or not the Secretary of State could send out solicitations, applications, and ballots. Mm-hmm. And so what the courts ruled was, well, the law doesn't say you can't do it, so you must be allowed to do it. I disagree with the ruling, but the way we fix this is next year in Pennsylvania, we control the Pennsylvania state legislature. We should pass a law that says you're not allowed to, the taxpayer dollars aren't allowed to be used to solicit votes, and that absentee votes have to be counted according to the law, and that secretaries of state can't change the law passed by the legislature. But we don't do it by destroying the Electoral College. If we destroy the Electoral College, all the calls now are going to be from the left to get rid of the Electoral College. Conservatives will never win again in this country. So we shouldn't be trashing the very institution that has been the way we win the presidency, and the only way we've been winning the presidency recently is through the Electoral College.
That's absolutely true. With regard to your party on the whole, the Republican Party, we heard from Mitch McConnell today. He talked about a shared commitment to truth and ground rules. He said he was worried about a death spiral for democracy, and this is before any of this happened. He said that he had respect for people's decisions and would defend our system of government for the future. Now, that put him in stark opposition to Ted Cruz and to Senator Hawley, who wanted to use the process to contest these states, which they have a right to do. But where does this leave the Republican Party when you've got this very deep cleave over how all of this has been handled?
Well, there's a certain degree of disingenuousness from those who are objecting. They're saying, oh, we don't want to overturn the election. We just want to protest. Well, hey, baby, I've been protesting since the very beginning with the best of them. I'm all for protest. Protest is a rally where you protest and you speak your mind. But protest isn't trying to overturn the Electoral College. The vote we will take, and we're going to take it in about an hour, and I think the vote has been condensed to one vote. I don't think they'll appeal all of the states. I think the events of the day have chastened them somewhat. But they aren't protesting. They are voting to overturn the election. And as much as I don't like the outcome, as much as I think the states could have done a better job and we should fix the election laws in the states, I can't vote to overturn the election. But they keep telling us, oh, we're not voting to overturn the election. We're voting to protest the election. That's not what the vote is. They're characterizing the vote as a protest, but it's not a protest. The vote is not to seat these electors. The result is Donald Trump would win the presidency. That's what they're asking us to do. It's an extraordinarily radical idea that would overturn everything we've ever done in this country with regard to the Electoral College. And I can't believe people have been thinking, oh, yeah, this will just be normal. And I think that this heightened tension that everything's been stolen just, has led to this feeling that nobody believes there's any integrity anymore, and so they're just going to riot. And the thing is that we can fix this problem. It's not a problem that can't be fixed. We fix it by going to all the state legislatures, and that's what I'm going to spend the next year doing, going to every state legislature and trying to pass election reform laws so they can't do this again. But rioting and anarchy is not the answer.
So you think even though Republicans will not have a majority in the Senate, that these things, these vote fixes can be pushed through Republican state legislatures and will make a difference by the time the 2022 elections roll around?
It's the only thing. It's the only constructive thing being offered is what I'm offering. Fix it at the state level.